So we got a fairly rough cold front pushing in, and it's gonna make it pretty rough couple of days. It's our first major one for this year, or this winter season at least. Really gonna need to get some bedding down for the chicks and the chickens. So they do pretty good here in the coop. I'm gonna get them on one solid piece of ground first. That way it's nice and fresh for them. And I'm gonna lay a bale of hay out underneath. And then our other coops, we have to coat the inside of these with hay to kind of block this lower level from breathing too much air so they can get up in here, settle in. That wind is brutal, man. Whew, we do not do that kind of cold here in Texas. 19 degrees, not being a wimp. That mixed with cold wind, not for Texans. We don't handle this. Hey, calm down, calm down. Tell you what, you northerners, y'all's weather was headed somewhere and it forgot a wrong turn at some point and it turned due south and just took off. And I'm here to let you know that it took a wrong turn. So if you want to give it a call or something, let it come back and go back. This turned all the chicken coops in a eastward direction. That way, you know, as the wind comes through from the northwest, pushing down, it's not going to blow directly into them, especially those. So the meat birds are the ones there on the ground. They've still got a few weeks before they're ready for harvest, but getting that hay on the ground for them will help them stay a little warmer and keep them from the ground itself. If the wind will die down enough, and if it will get closer-ish to freezing, I can get water back out there to them. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to figure out some kind of temporary water source. What adds a level of tension to all this is Lisa's ready to pop at any time. So we could have little Emma here tonight. A lot of times what we've seen in the past though is this heavy wind will push through. It'll get real nasty and bad for the first 12 hours or so like it is now. The wind will die down. The cold will stay for a bit. We're supposed to be like this for at least a week from what I can tell, or several days. Then it's going to push back out. You said those are hot? Yeah. Are they super hot?
Here and here. You see, here have you the needs and it just bring the water. Push this juice ready. Okay, turn off.
Put it in there.
Okay, let's try this one.
You ready? You know, I spent a week trying to get them to work inside this fence to hop in and out on their own, and they wouldn't do it. Now, the moment they get a chance to get out and they don't have to worry about the fence, what do? It's okay. Good job. Let me meet up. Here, take my hand. Take my hand. Let's go. Whoa. There we go. Y'all hungry? Good job. So we got down into the single digits. I think the lowest temperature recorded for us was 8 or 9 degrees. But today we're back into the 20s, so it's not so bad. This water solution, it works. It's not the best solution. If we were gonna be dealing with this kind of temps for an extended period of time, I mean more than a week, then I would take the time to build some cages to kind of sit over it to where they can still fit their head through without being able to actually get into the bowl, which is part of the problem with this little setup. We just took some old glass bowls we had in the house, our regular waterers we were going to use. They weren't going to hold up to this cold. They were going to keep freezing. So I wanted something I could easily thaw, chunk the water out clean, and once we're done, if we decided that, you know, we don't want to use those bowls anymore, it's not a big deal. We can always set them aside, or we can just chunk them. And the straw solution seemed to work out really well. I'm going to leave them sit where they are because of all the straw and stuff until this cold actually passes. I think we got a couple more days. I had the faucet trickling outside, but obviously that didn't hold up. So that ended up freezing up, and you know, as you saw. So the hair dryer, it worked out pretty well. It's actually, I had a torch, but I realized when I went to get it, my oxygen regulator is messed up. It's not working right. Most winters, even if we get down below freezing, it's only for a few hours at a time. So it's not very often at all that we have these hard blasts come through where we stay below freezing. That's it at this stage, surviving the freeze. Turns out to be a pretty good success. Not really that big of an ordeal. We implemented some measures to try to just get through it. It only lasted a few days. It wasn't like we had, you know, dramatic freeze. We didn't want to do nothing and then end up having, you know, major damage or frostbite or crop loss. You know, we're not the most experienced with harsh winters. We are running blue Australorps on the chickens, and we got Jersey Giants, the black, for our meat birds, which are really hardy animals to begin with. How far do you push that? You don't want to get to a point where you're pushing the animal itself to extreme discomfort, which isn't really our goals. You know, we'd rather them be as comfortable as they can be so that they produce as good as they can on their own. The blue Australorps haven't gotten to the point of laying yet. They should be really close. I have to double check with Lisa on that. Did I get you, Bubba? I got you, didn't I? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get you. So it's gotten warm enough at this point. I'm gonna go ahead, give them all their regular waters. We're only gonna get down below freezing for a couple hours overnight each evening. So with that, I can probably leave the water hose dripping on its own. It'll be fine. Their regular waterers we have shouldn't have a problem going forward. Clearly the bowls idea worked out so wonderfully well. But hey, it got them a few days, that was the point. There you go. Good job, Bubba. Alright, close it. Can you do it? Here, right here. I'm gonna push it over, just like that. Straw worked out really well. This definitely helped insulate this whole area to keep the air and any wind or anything else out that's gonna get to them. As a final step, I'll end up leaving them where they sit for another day or two to get past these last couple of harsh nights. We may not have another freeze like this for the rest of the season, or we may have one more. So if we do, we'll take it as it comes. If we don't, won't have to worry about it. The freeze of 2021 was the worst we've seen in a really long time. And then we had a little bit of a freeze 2022 about the same time, January, February. But even still, that wasn't as bad as 2021's, and it lasted, I think, less than a week. This one lasted a few days. I'll end up taking the straw and we'll scatter that out on the ground. And then we may take part of it and put it here in the garden beds or something. You can see right here behind me. So we may put them in here somehow, somewhere. Or we'll just let it scatter on the ground. We'll let the chickens go over it and work that into the soil and do what they do. Well, hope you enjoyed this. If you do, stick around, like, subscribe, do the stuff. We got a lot more homestead stuff coming to you, ranging from everything from our chickens to the upcoming garden stuff to processing the animals and the deer and the lambs and just living life. You know, that's what a homestead is, right? It's living life and working together as a family and making all this happen as a unit. So that's what we're here to do. I appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next one.